The NFL draft is only 2 days away, so let's talk about the best day 2 players in the NFL draft this season. Here we go. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media, bringing Ravens content every single day. We're on the road to 5,000 subscribers. The goal is to hit it before the season starts, but if we hit it before the end of day 1 of the NFL draft, I'm giving away the Ravens first-round picks jersey as soon as they release it. I've done it before in years past. One year I did actually every player that we drafted, I gave away a jersey. So make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Comment down below your favorite players in day 2. And as always, make sure to come back during the NFL draft. I post a reaction video within 5 minutes of every draft pick, and I will do that with Joshua for Thursday, and then we'll have Fridays and Saturdays. I'll have most of them almost immediately live, but I will be gone for about 1 hour, so I'll post them as soon as I get home. But I don't know the picks. I react to them as they happen, and you guys get to see my instant reaction without having to sit in a live stream. So hopefully you all enjoy the draft. Hopefully you all enjoy the video, but let's jump right into it. So with this, I decided to go based on Tankathon rankings. If you don't know Tankathon, Tankathon is a conglomerate of a bunch of different mock drafts. So it takes the average draft position of all of these players, sorts it, and so that's where I'm getting these numbers. So that's where I'm saying projected, second round or third round pick. That is based on Tankathon having them. So some of them you guys might say, well, that's a first round player. And some of them I actually have first round grades on. But right now, Tankathon has them as second round picks. Not all of these players are going to be available for the Ravens to take in the second round. They're, maybe a trade up candidate or something like that. But if they do slide, these are the players I want. They're being drafted in the second round right now, in at least the 40s. So potential trade up or potential trade back situations could be available. But starting off, one of my favorite players in the class, someone said yesterday, hey, TTB, surprised you didn't take this guy with your first round pick because I went with Ezraku in my perfect draft. But Darius Alexander, right now, Tankathon has him at 43. I think he's the second best defensive tackle in this draft right now, behind Mason Graham. I think he's physically dominant. His concern, the only concern, is he's a bit of a late bloomer, and he'll be old coming into the NFL draft. He's 24. He'll be 25 during his rookie season, which a lot of people are concerned with. My problem with that concern is that the Baltimore Ravens and a lot of these teams, when they draft these interior defensive linemen, they typically don't re-sign them, like especially these round 2 guys. Now, obviously, when they are generational and things like that, they do re-sign them. But I feel like so often we see defensive tackles transition teams, like they don't stick with their team because people don't typically pay defensive tackles. So in the second round, if you can get a defensive tackle who will be in his prime years of athleticism during his rookie contract, yes, he might not be able to blossom with your franchise for 15 years, but if you get him for his rookie contract and it goes through, age 29, like right there, boom, like that's what you're trying to get. With a lot of these other rookies, when you draft them at 22, your second contract is now, okay, well, now they're 26. Now we can really see what he developed into. He's a play now player. Like you can sub him in right now. He can be a starting 3 tech for you, or he can play, 3-4 defensive end. Very, very strong. Probably the strongest defensive lineman in this draft class. Extremely physical, playmaker in the run game, pass rusher in the pass game, can do it all. Love Darius Alexander. I would not be mad if the Ravens took him with their first round pick. That's how much I love him. I do have a late first round grade on him. Next up, player 46 in Tankathon models is my favorite cornerback to go after in the second round. That's Benjamin Morrison. This is a first-round player that got injured and is missing time. That's kind of a theme with the second round, third round players that are studs. A lot of them are first-round graded players that got hurt, missed most of last year, and so there is a little bit of injury concern. That's the concern with Benjamin Morrison. The other concern, not necessarily the best tackler, not the best in run defense, but he's a true lockdown number 1 outside corner. That's what he was at Notre Dame. He was a dominant player for their defense the last couple of years. Obviously, this year got hurt. We didn't get to see him in the college football playoff. Would have been a really fun matchup to watch him against, Jeremiah Smith and watch him against Emeka Egbuka in the national championship. Didn't get to see it, but this guy has the size, length, speed, ball skills, reactions, hips, versatility to be a star corner in the NFL. And right now, going in the second round, absolutely worth a shot for a team like the Baltimore Ravens, where they don't necessarily need a starter right away, because we do have Nate Wiggins, we have Marlon Humphrey, we have Cheeto Awuzie. So if Benjamin Morrison needs a little bit more time to, gather himself recovering from that injury, that's fine. But when he does when he's able to step in, lights out. Like, he's going to be a lockdown corner in the NFL. I'm very confident in that. He's a top 5 corner in this draft, and he's going at 46. Like, he's definitely better than a lot of these other corners that I see people taking. Next up, pick 64, or ranked 64 in Tankathon. Another guy very similar to Benjamin Morrison, Kevin Winston Jr., first round grade. Terrific safety. Better safety than Nick Emenwari. Now, Emenwari is very athletic trait, potential based player. That's why he's being mocked in the first round as of this point. But Kevin Winston Jr. is terrific against the run, terrific with the ball in the air. You can play him in the box, play him at slot, play him at free safety, or at least over the top safety. People don't typically use free safety as that title anymore, but over the top safety, cover 3, you can put him in cover 2. He's going to make plays with the ball in the air. Again, was looked at as a first round pick. You watch him from 2 years ago and you're like, yeah, this guy's a first round pick. Gets hurt this year. I think he only played in 3 games. But again, the Ravens love to use 3 safeties. We have our Darius Washington back for at least a year. And I think with that, what the Ravens are going to try and do is utilize those 3 safeties and have them all be able to play everywhere. And Kevin Winston Jr. can do that. And he would be an absolute playmaker. We would have the best safety trio in the league. And it would be very dominant. I would love to have him on the team. Next up, pick 73. Now, I did say don't draft a tight end, but this guy is one of the best tight ends, I think, in the draft class. I think, there's a chance he is the best tight end in the draft class when it's all said and done. That's Harold Fannon Jr. out of Boston College. Probably was the best pass-catching tight end in college football last year. Not a run blocker at this point. He's a little bit undersized, like 6'3". He's a pass-catching, big slot type tight end. But the reason that, I made that video saying, don't draft tight end through the first 4 rounds, I still stand by that. However, more and more keeps coming out like there is a chance that Mark Andrews does get traded. If we do trade Mark, I think Harold Fannon Jr., in the late second, or if we trade up in the 3rd, absolutely a possibility. And I think it would be definitely worthwhile to make that trade because of how good he is, catching passes over the middle. He's good after the catch. Again, probably he doesn't really have the frame to develop into a true great blocking tight end because we've done a good job of transitioning Mark to a blocking tight end, or not a blocking tight end, but the ability to block at the tight end position. Mark's fine. Isaiah Likely is fine. Charlie Kolar is a solid blocking tight end, but that was kind of his thing coming out of college. He was, a balanced tight end. Harold Fannon doesn't have the versatility or the body type to necessarily develop into a terrific blocker, but could be a terrific receiver in the NFL and would give the Ravens an immediate pass catcher that they could put out there. Even if, you have Isaiah Likely on the line, Harold Fannon goes out there at slot. We have Zay and Bate on the outside in goal line situations, or maybe it's Nuke. Sorry, I keep saying it wrong. Nuke, Bate, Fannon and Isaiah Likely in at the goal line package, could be pretty interesting. And I would be a definite fan of that. Next up, pick 77. A lot of people wanted me to take him yesterday in my perfect mock draft. That's Charles Grant, offensive lineman out of William and Mary's, I think is how you say it. Not that I think it's how you say it. I think that's the college. But monster. Very new to football. I want to say he started playing football his junior year of high school. He's going to come into the NFL, with limited playing experience, but was very good last year. He played left tackle, and he projects to be a guard in the NFL, but he's really big. He has a 7-foot wingspan. He's over 300 pounds. And I think that type of versatility is very athletic as well. That's one of the big things that stands out about him is super athlete. That's one of the things that I think the Ravens are looking for in their guards. One of their problems last year was the immobility of a lot of their offensive linemen, especially on the interior with, obviously Daniel Faalele. But Charles Grant, maybe could play right away. Not 100% positive. Just depends. We'd have to see how he does against this level of competition consistently. But even if he can't play right away, next year, in 2 years, this guy could be a terrific guard in the NFL, not just like, "Oh, this guy's solid," like a multi-time Pro Bowl or maybe even an All-Pro with the athletic traits and, body frame and size that he has. The potential is almost limitless with him. Next up, pick number 80. You guys know this, one of my favorite players in this draft class is Andrew Makuba. I did go with 2 safeties, but Makuba's just such a baller, such a good over-the-top safety, such a good playmaker. Had the game-winning interception against Arizona State in the college football playoffs. If you remember that interception in whatever overtime they were in, second or third overtime, that was a terrific football game. Great comeback by Arizona State, but Makuba shut it down. Him and Jahdae Barron were kind of the big playmakers on that Texas defense, at least in the secondary. And both of them I'm a huge fan of. Makuba can play over the top, get you a lot of interceptions. 5'11", he, ran a good time. His play speed isn't necessarily terrific, but he surprised a lot of people with his 40-yard dash time. So would definitely be happy with Makuba. I think he's a safety that he can play right away. Now, for the Ravens, he would be safety number 3, but you could put him out there. You wouldn't be upset with how he plays. And I think he could surprise a lot of people as being, hey, this guy's a pretty good safety, in his first year in the NFL, coming in as a 3rd-round pick. And then finally, I wasn't going to put this guy, but I haven't talked about him this offseason. I had him as an early day 2 grade, like early 2nd-round pick grade coming out of this last season. And I thought he would jump up draft board to become a 1st-round pick. And I was like, I don't know if I'd take him in the 1st round, but now he's starting to slide after his combine. He's looked at as maybe an early 3rd rounder. That's 69, Alec Iammanor out of Stanford. I do want to give him his praise because Alec Iammanor is a really intriguing prospect in this draft class. He's 6'2". He ran a 4.44 40. Terrific catch radius, has the ability to make some of the best highlight catches you can possibly see, has the ability to explode after the catch, very physical after the catch, not necessarily a big juke guy or, hit him with a spin move, but hard to bring down after the catch. He's had dominant games. Stanford's offense ran entirely through him. That was the problem. Stanford's quarterback play was terrible. Iammanor did have a drop problem, which I don't see a lot of people talking about when they do analyze his game. That's his negative, is we don't necessarily know the extent of his route tree because Troy Taylor's offense was very strange. They didn't try and get him involved early very often, but when they did, example, Colorado 2 years ago when they were down like 28 at halftime and he had 0 catches in the first half against Travis Hunter, puts up 300 yards in the second half and, Moss's Travis Hunter in overtime. Like, that was the type of player that Alec Iammanor was. Like, it was like, oh man, he's not involved. And there was like, oh my gosh, he just took over. He had the game sealing catch against Syracuse on 4th down. They throw the back shoulder, but their quarterback play was so inconsistent. He didn't have great passes, but there wasn't a lot of velocity. So maybe the velocity helped him, but the poor ball placement was hurting him. I'd love to see him with an NFL coach, with an NFL quarterback, with an NFL system, because this guy has the potential to be the best receiver in this draft class, but also has, the concerns to be like, hey, like if he doesn't get the drops cleaned up, which again, might not be his fault. A lot of them were poor passes. A lot of them were, kind of in difficult areas for him to grab the ball, but has the size, frame, aggressiveness, physicality to be an X wide receiver in the NFL. Just probably not in his rookie year. So love Alec Iammanor. 2nd-round pick. I think he's a stud. And, if someone takes him in the 1st round, I wouldn't be upset at it. I think I have him as an early 2nd-round pick. That's what I graded him at coming out. After the combine, he had a good combine. And so that's where I'm ranking him. Alec Iammanor, right now tanked on 69. I think he should be somewhere around like 40. But that's going to be it. Let me know your guys' favorite players in this draft class, especially day 2. This was a poll that I put out this morning. What do we want for today's video? Mark Andrews trade talk or best day 2 players? You guys voted. 75% of you voted for best day 2 players. So if you guys want to have, a say in the videos, make sure to comment down below. Make sure to follow, subscribe, and check out the community section because I do post about different video topics that you guys want to see. But tomorrow I'm going to build out my draft profile my draft profile thumbnail, so you guys will get to see that. It will be very cool. I'm excited to see it. I'll show you guys it on probably a live stream I'll do tomorrow just to kind of get ready for the NFL draft. And we'll do a live stream before the NFL draft starts, not during the draft, before the draft starts on Thursday. But very excited to see what happens. Let me know your guys' thoughts, opinions. Subscribe for more. 5,000, we give away a jersey. And I'll see all you again next time.